Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem and welcome back to today's Daf, SOTAH Daled. We are holding on Gimel Amud Beis, 2 lines from the bottom. So on the previous Daf, towards the end, we discussed Edus Rishona, which is the Edus testifying as to the fact that the Isha went into confinement with this fellow, Stira. For that we need 2 Edim. Then we have Edus Achroina, the final Edus. We received report that actually they interacted as married. That's the Eid Tuma. So in fact the Gemara explains that again. Tanu Rabbanon, Ezohi Edus Rishona, the Edus Rishona, which we mentioned yesterday. What exactly is that a reference to? Zohi Edus Satira, that's testimony to the fact that they went into hiding together. Edus Achroina, which was mentioned yesterday, is a reference to the actual activity, Zu Edus of the actual Tumah. Now the 2 things are somewhat related. You know why? The Kama Shiur Stira. What is the time frame of Stira? How long are they together? Kedei Tumah. Sufficient time to get involved with each other as married. So if the Edom will come and tell us that she was Nistar, she went into hiding with this fellow for a duration which would allow Tumah to take place, then we have that suspicion, and she is Asur until she drinks the SOTAH waters. The Brisa mentions a couple of terms to describe this Shiur. Kedei Tumah, Kedei Bia, Kedei Ha'ara'a, which is the initial physical interaction, Kedei HaKafas Dekel, the amount of time it takes to walk around a palm tree. Divrei Rabbi Shmuel, that is the shiur presented by Rabbi Shmuel, and we're going to have many other shiurim coming up, and Rashi explains, Kol echad ve'echad min ha'chachamim halalu, this is the 5th line in Rashi, each one of these chachamim ba'atzmai shiur kama hu shoya b'hara'asai, it was an estimation based on their personal experiences, how long it takes for this to happen. So Rishmuel cites the shiur of Kedei HaKafas Dekel. She's in the area with this fellow for that long, she becomes Asur. Rabbi Lezer Omer Kedei Mizigas HaKos, the time it takes to dilute your wine to prepare it for drinking. Rabbi Shua Omer Kedei Lishtoisei, amount of time it takes to drink that revius of wine. Whether it's in 1 gulp or several gulps, there are many ways to learn the Gemara, but ultimately, whatever the shear of drinking, that is the shear of Tumah. Rabbi Shua Omer Kedei Lishtoisei, Ben Azui Omer Kedei Litzlois Beitza, time it takes to fry an egg. Rabbi Kiva Omer Kedei Legoima, time it takes to consume, to swallow that fried egg. Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira Omer, not only 1 egg, Kedei Legomoya, Shalosh Beitzim Zohar Chazur, time it takes to eat 3 eggs, one after the other. Rabbi Lezer ben Yeremiah Omer, a different type of shear, unrelated to food and drink. Kedei Liksher Gardi, time it takes for a tailor to tie together a snapped thread. Nima. Chanan ben Pinchas Omer Kedei Shetoshet Yada L'Teich Pia, the time it takes for her to reach into her mouth, little kesam, to pull out some splinter, something stuck between the teeth. Plima Omer Kedei Shetoshet Yada L'Sal, time it takes to reach out to the basket, little kikar, and pull out a loaf. Even though we don't have an absolute proof of this correlation, that the shear of reaching out for the bread corresponds to the shear of the avera, but we have some sort of hint in the pasuk that the 2 things are related. We have a pasuk in Mishlei, Ki ba'ad the isha zoyna ad kikar lechem, we find a loaf of bread relating to the isha zoyna. Now the Brisa began, what is the shear of stira? Kedei Tumah, Kedei Bia, Kedei Hara, Kedei HaKafas Dekel. Why do we need 4 separate descriptions? V'kol hani lamali. The answer is they're all needed tzrichi. They're all teaching us a point. Each one has a chiddush. De'itana Kedei Tumah. If only the first expression, stira, corresponds to the shear of Tumah, I would think a longer shear of time is necessary for the preparation and the actual maisa. Havamina Kedei Tum Asa, the actual interaction. And also the convincing part which precedes the interaction. That's a very long time. Kamash Malon, the Chiddush is no. All we're speaking about is the actual physical interaction. Could they be? the Ritza could have taken place at a different juncture. And therefore, if the stira took place for an amount of time, allowing for the bia itself, that is sufficient for Isser. V'itana k'dei bia. If we only mention that expression, k'dei bia, havamina, perhaps I would say, k'dei gemar bia, until it's a complete physical interaction. Kamashmon the Chiddush is no. Even a lesser amount of time is Asr k'dei hara, even the initial physical interaction, Rashi calls it Neshikas, even that is sufficient for Isser. V'yashmina k'dei hara. If we only mention that expression, havamina, I would go back and say, okay, minimal physical interaction, but together with the emotional preparation. The time it takes to be miratzer to get her into it. Kamash, one of the chiddush is kedei tuma. Physical interaction, period. And finally, how long is that? V'kam kedei hara. The answer is kedei hakafas dekel. Time it takes to go around the tree. And Rashi and Taisus both ask, well, so then just say the last shear, kedei hakafas dekel. A minute, 2 minutes, half, whatever it is. And then you know how long it needs to be. So Rashi and the Taisus Shans both answer. The Bryce is trying to highlight the reason for the Isser, the reason that going lebeis ha-seiser, going to confinement with his fellow, generates Isser is because we're concerned about even a minor physical interaction, the ha'ara. That's a chiddush. Even that makes her Asr. Viramini. So in this brisa we have a list of shiurim. We have another brisa where the names don't seem to match up. B'nistra, the isha went lebeis ha-seiser, she becomes asr. Become a shiur stira. How long is that? Lo shamana, we're not sure. Kshu emer v'hinitmo, and the pasuk continues that v'nistra leads into tuma. Haviyemer, now I can conclude kedei tuma. The shiur of stira is only if it allows for a tuma, kedei bia, kedei ara, kedei chazora astekel, a bit different than hakaf astekel mentioned before. We'll get to that in a minute. Divrei Rabbi Lezer. Now, in the first brayso, Rabbi Lezer mentioned a different shir, mitzigas hakois. So we're going to deal with that apparent contradiction, and all the way down the list as well. It's sort of the same type of shiurim, but the names are shifted down. Rabbi Shoimer kedei mitzigas hakois. Time it takes to dilute, to prepare that wine, which was actually Rabbi Lezer shita in the first price, and here it's Rabbi Shua. Now we go further. Rabbi Nazir Eimer kedei l'shtoyse. Time it takes to drink that wine, which wasn't his shita before. Rabbi Kiva kedei litleis beitza. Time it takes to fry an egg, which wasn't his shita before. And Rabbi Seira Eimer kedei l'goyma. Time it takes to swallow one egg, which again isn't consistent. Okay, end of price. Let's analyze this. Now let's go back to the first shir. The Gemara figured Hainu hakafas dekel, the shear hakafas dekel, mentioned in Brisa number 1 as the first possible shear. Hainu chazoras dekel matches the shear of chazoras dekel mentioned in the second Brisa. Question: Hasam Abba Rabbi Shmuel kedei hakafas dekel. You see, but in Brisa number 1, who said that shear? Rabbi Shmuel. Upalag Rabbi Lezer olei, and he was disputed by Rabbi Lezer, right? And here, who's speaking and giving the same exact shear? At least we think it's the same shear. Hacha Amar Rabbi Lezer. Kedei chazoras dekel. Lezer himself, who apparently disputed that shita before, is the one that's presenting that shita now. Answer is, it's not the same shear. Describing a different lapse of time. Amar Baya hakafa beregel. Hakafas dekel. In Brisa number 1, presented by Rabbi Shmuel and disputed by Rabbi Lezer, is describing walking around that tree by foot. Chazara beruach. Kedei chazoras dekel, mentioned in Brisa number 2 by Rabbi Lezer, is the amount of time it takes for that branch, the palm branch, to sway back and forth from the wind. A different type of shear. Asks the Gemara, exactly how long is that? Boy Ravashi. Chazara beruach means kiyechid the ozl v'ader asi, time it takes to sway fro and back. Or dilma kiyechid the ozl v'asi, or perhaps even more than that, to and back. V'ader koi beduchte needs to sort of resettle properly in its original position, which is a bit longer than the first shear. Take it, we leave it unresolved. Next question. The next apparent inconsistency between the two brises. If we take a look at the first brise, Hasan Umar Rabbi Lezer was the shear of Tumah kedei mizigas hakois, to prepare the glass of wine. Hacha, in Brisa number 2, he himself gives us a different shiur. Kedei chazar as dekel. The answer is it's one and the same shiur, described in different ways. Both shiurim are really chad shiurahu, are describing the same amount of time. Next question. Hassam, in Brisa number 1, Omar Rabbi Yehoda tells us kedei l'shtoisei. Time it takes to drink that glass of wine. Hacha Omar, kedei mizigas hakois, in Brisa number 2, he speaks about preparing the glass. Answers the Gemara. Ema, let's revise. Kedei limzeg v'lishtos. It's all the same thing. And Rabbi Shua meant prepare and drink that glass. It's a bit of a longer shiur than we thought. So in Brisa number 1, he mentioned the second part of that shiur, the drinking. And in Brisa number 2, he adds the first part. Really, the first and second are both needed. Well, says the Gemara, why did you have to provide this solution to the question? V'leima, why don't we just say simply like before? Both descriptions are chad shiuruhu, describing the same amount of time. Limzayg is the same as lishtos. Imkein hainu Rabbi Lezer. Because if indeed drinking and preparing are the same shiur, Rabbi Shua says drinking, and you're saying it's just drinking, well then in Brisa number 1, he's saying the same as Rabbi Lezer, who says preparing. If we say preparing and drinking is the same thing, there's no machlokes between Rabbi Lezer, who says preparing, and Rabbi Shua says drinking. So why are they arguing in the first Brisa? Apparently, that's not the way to understand Rabbi Shua. Rather, he needs both, preparing and drinking. Next question. In the previous Brisa, Ben Azai told us, they let's beya, the amount of time it takes to fry that egg. In Brisa number 2, he speaks about consuming the egg. It's all the same shiur. Next question. In the first Brisa, Rabbi Kiva speaks about consuming that egg. Whereas in Brisa number 2, he speaks about roasting that egg. The answer is Ema. We need both together. Prepare and consume the egg. Question. Why don't we just say simply, preparing is the same amount of time it takes to drink the egg? Because that's the case, that Rabbi Kiva is either preparing or drinking the egg, well then that's exactly what Ben Azai said. Time it takes to prepare the egg. So why in the first Brisa is Rabbi Kiva, who says drinking the egg, disputing Ben Azai, who says preparing the egg, if we're saying preparing and consuming is the same thing? Apparently that's not what Rabbi Kiva had in mind. He meant preparing and consuming the egg. One more question. In the previous Brisa, Rabbi Yehuda tells us time it takes to eat 3 eggs successively. Whereas in Brisa number 2, he speaks about consuming 1 egg. The answer is Rabbi Yehuda himself holds time it takes to consume 1 egg is sufficient. In the previous Brisa that he made reference to 3, he was relating to Rabbi Kiva's shita. The Ka'amar Mesharin B'tzliya Ubegmiya. You, Rabbi Kiva, hold the shiur is the amount of time it takes to prepare and to eat the egg. That's a bit confusing. I'll give you a more simple formula to use. Ema shiur gmiya l'chuda. Just speak about the time it takes to consume. That's it. To consume 3 eggs, which corresponds to your shiur of preparing and consuming. It's just more smooth and easier to understand and to teach. K'dei l'gmaya sholosh beitzim zeh which corresponds to the time it takes to prepare and to eat 1 egg. So basically, Rabbi Yehuda himself held 1 egg. Consuming of 1 egg is the shiur, as he says in Brisa number 2. In Brisa number 1, when he spoke about 3, he was simply trying to simplify Rabbi Kiva's shita. You spoke about preparing and eating 1 egg. Just speak about eating 3 eggs. Straightforward shiur. Continues the Gemara further. Rabbi Lezer ben Rimya Omer, time it takes for a tailor to repair that thread which has snapped. Boy Ravashi, where are the 2 heads of that thread? The marchak, are they far apart, or the mekarav close together, making it a shorter experience, take it, we leave it unknown. Chanan ben Pinchas Omer, a different shir, Kadesha Toishet Yado Techpia, little case, some time it takes to take something stuck between your teeth. Boy Rav Ashi the Mahadak, is it firmly stuck between one's teeth? Or delay Mahadak, or a bit loose, which makes it easier to take it, we leave it unresolved. Pli Mayomer, Kadesha Toishet Yado Lasal, Del Kikar, time it takes to reach for a loaf of bread out of the basket. Boy Rav Ashi the Mahadak, or delay Mahadak, is that loaf stuck firmly, or is it loose, which makes it easier? Bechadata, a freshly produced basket, which has perhaps pokey things sticking out, which makes it more difficult. Or is it a used, an old basket, which is easier to handle? Bechamima, a fresh, warm loaf of bread, which is more difficult to handle. Or a cooled off loaf of bread, which makes it more easy to handle. Bedechiti, is it a loaf of bread made of a wheat flour, which is slippery and harder to handle, or made of barley, which makes it easier. Birakicha, a soft batter, which makes it harder to handle. Or more a firm type of batter, in which case the loaf is more firm and easier to handle. Take it, we leave it unresolved. Amar Rabbi Yitzchak bar Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda, this is what Rashi told us before. Kol echad ve'echad ba'atzmo yishir. Each one of these Tanoim who presented their respective shiurim, it was personal, based on personal experience. Asks the Gemara, one problem we have. What about Ben Azai, who presented a shir bia? He was never involved, he was never married. We have three terutzim. One teretz, Nosiv, he in fact did marry Upirishava, but he separated. Rashi brings the Gemara in Yevamos. When he was asked about marriage, he said, I would love to marry, but what can I do? I'm infatuated with Torah, I'm totally focused, I can't distract myself. The world will be run by others. But here the Gemara learns that he married and then it didn't work out, he separated. In fact, I believe Rabbi Azai married Rabbi Akiva's daughter. So he was married at a time and therefore he had the ability to describe the facts. Another alternative, Rabbi Shmili, it was something he learned from his Rebbe. Another pshat, it was something spiritual and supernatural. Soid Hashem Li'Reyav, there's a pasuk in Tehillim, Hashem endows his tzaddikim with their required information. Darash Rav Avira. So Rav Avira presented this lesson. Zimnin, at times, Amrullah, he would present it Mishmei, the Rav Yami. Vizimnin, other times, Amrullah, he would present it Mishmei, the Rabbi Asi. Which is, a person approaches that staple food, bread, without properly washing his hands, without focus, without purity, without purpose, kilo bal isha zoina. It's as though we partook in isha zoina, which is of course terrible. Shenemar ki ba'ad isha zoina ad kikar lechem. We compare mishandling a kikar lechem to getting involved in improper behavior. Amar Rava, I don't understand how you see this from the pasuk. What's the cause and what's the effect? We're saying being involved improperly in the mealtime experience is compared to an Isha Zoina. So, be'ad means because. That's the cause. Since she's doing that, it appears like he's involved in that as well. So, be'ad should be near the Kikar Lechem. Ba'ad Kikar Lechem, because of his improper, haphazard involvement in the Kikar Lechem, Ad Isha Zoina is treated as though he's all the way at the Isha Zoina. Amar Rav Ahai Ba'ad Isha Zoina? Why is Ba'ad, which is describing the cause, next to the word Isha Zoina? Hai Ba'ad Zoina, and then Ad is near the Kikar Lechem? It should be the other way around. The word Ba'ad, which describes the first step, the cause, should be near the Kikar Lechem. And that extends Ad Isha Zoina. That's how the pasuk should be written. Elam Rav has another pshat. Kolabal Isha Zoina, actually we're describing improper behavior. It gets involved immorally. Ba'ad Isha Zoina, because of that experience. Ultimately, his finances will deteriorate to the point that he's so poor, he'll be begging for bread. A person willingly, habitually, negates the takanas chachamim of an atilas hadayim before a meal, nekar min olam, he's uprooted from the world. Another halacha regarding atilas hadayim and the contrast between the mayim rishonim before the meal and the mayim achronim we wash after the meal to cleanse our hands in preparation for birchas hamazon. Mayim rishonim, the first natila, How does one position his hands? One should see that his fingers are facing upwards. And Rashi explains in great detail because we're concerned that the water from the first wash will actually spill out beyond his hand, and then, although he'll wash again, right, until the time involves rinsing twice, but then when he'll bring his hands back down, that water which flowed out will come back, and that water is tummy and was never cleansed, never reached by the second wash. To play it safe, keep your hands up. This way the water stays back. Mayim achronim, however, the final mayim before the meal, which is meant to cleanse one's hands, over there you actually tip your fingers downward, so the zuama, the uncleanness, should drip down and his hands will remain clean. We have the same in a brisa, which describes the halacha and the concerns behind it. When one washes prior to eating, ideally, he should keep his fingers pointing upwards. You know why? Perhaps the water which was applied during that first wash will actually roll beyond the joint, and then later on, will come back down and his hands. So better keep it up, dry your hands, and then you're safe. If one eats his bread without properly drying his hands, that's uncleanliness. It's as though he's eating impure bread. Lack of hygiene equals tumah. We find the pasuk describing eating lechem tamei. Asks the Gemara. We find the following pasuk in Mishlei. Which is actually the second part of the pasuk mentioned before. Ki ba'ad isha zoyna at kika lechem. The pasuk concludes with the words, Ve'eshes ish nefesh yikara tatzud. What does that mean? Umay ve'eshes ish, a married woman, nefesh yikara, a precious soul, tatzud, she will trap. Amar Rabbi Chia bar Abba, Amar Rabbi Yechanan. Surprisingly enough, the pasuk here is describing ga'ava, improper midas. If one views himself as successful, great man, he's a haughty person. Nefesh yikara, that's terrible. This fellow doesn't really have a true understanding of boundaries. He's bigger and greater than everybody else. He's all over the place. This can bring him to stumble with an ishes ish because of lack of boundaries. Shanama ve'ishes ish. Who traps the ishes ish? Who pursues the ishes ish? Nefesh yikara. This haughty person, tatzud, he traps the ishes ish. Once again, Rava has a problem with this drasha. Diktuk wise. Amar Rava, hi nefesh yikara. First of all, the wording. Nefesh yikara describes a haughty man. Nefesh gevoya miboyle. It should have just said nefesh gevoya. He considers himself big and haughty. That's first of all. Va'id, in terms of the grammar. He tatzud miboyle. For speaking that the nefesh yikara is trapping the ishes ish, it should say ishes ish. Nefesh yikara, he tatzud. Because the nefesh yikara is trapping the ishes ish. But without the word he, it doesn't seem that the pasuk is giving us this picture here. Elam Rava says, Rabbi, I'll tell you pshat the pasuk. The ishes ish is actually trapping the person and leading him astray eternally. Elam Rava kolabal ishes ish. We're speaking about a fellow who does interact with an ishes ish improperly. Afilu lama Torah. This nefesh is not speaking about a bal gava. Nefesh yikara, a precious soul immersed in Torah. Afilu lama Torah dechsiba yikara mipninim. The term yikara, precious, is attributed to Torah. Torah is more precious than peninim, which means a Talmud Chacham, even if he's a mamzer, Rachmana litzlan, but if he's immersed and absorbed with Torah, he can rise higher than the greatest Kohen Gadol. Mi Kohen Gadol shenichnas lifnai lifnim, even greater than Pninim, than the Kohen Gadol that enters the Kodesh HaKadoshim, the innards of the Beis HaMikdash. So the pasuk is speaking about a Talmud Chacham who stumbles with an Eshes Ish. Ve'eshes Ish nefesh yikara tatzit. She entraps the nefesh yikara. He titzu danu ladina shal Gehinna. We're speaking about the effect that she has on him. This interaction entraps him to Gehenna. Amar Rabbi Yechanan Mishum Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai Kol Adam Sheish Bei Gasas Haruach. One dabbles with Gava Kilu Eved Avodah Zarah. It's as though he's involved in Avodas Kechav. Why? The Torah considers a Gval Lev, an expression of haughtiness, as Te'eva, of domination. Uksiv Hasam, we find by Avodah Zarah, where the pasuk relates to the same term, which is describing Avodah Zarah. So we see that connection. Lack of submission to Hashem is tantamount to Avodah Zarah. Rabbi Yechanan the Deomar, Rabbi Yechanan himself presented as follows: one who engages in Gava is not submitting to Hashem properly. Kilu kafa breika is as though he denies the existence of Hashem. So subconsciously, he thinks he runs the world. He's in the driver's seat. That's kafa breika. Shenemar v'rabu avech. When a person feels gay and haughty, v'shachachtas Hashem lakecha, that is an expression and brings to shikechas Hashem. Rav Chama B'Chanina Amar Kilu bo al kol ha'aroyos. Gava is equal to involvement in all improper relationships. Here we see the connection between Ga'ava and To'eva. Uksiv Hasam, and the pasuk describing all the arayas also uses the lashon To'eva as Kol To'eva Sa'el Asu Anshe Haaretz. Ula Amar Kilu Bana Bama. Gava is equated to building an altar for Avodah Zarah. He considers himself an independent being. It's as though he made himself into a mizbeach for Avodah Zarah. Shnamar chidu lachem min ha'adam. Keep away from a man who's haughty. Asher neshama ba'apoy. Rashi says, neshama ba'apoy means he's all proud of himself. Shemachzik atzmei kebal nefesh. He considers himself pious and righteous. Keep away from that person. Keep a man nechshefa. What is he worth? It's just a folly. And we sort of switch the reading of that word, the spelling. Al tikri bameh, instead of bameh, ela bama, we switch it to bama, a sort of mizbeach for Avodah Zarah. So this fellow is worshipping idols. My yad liyad lo yenaka. So this is the end of the pasuk Te'avas Hashem Kol Gvalev. Yad liyad lo yenaka. What's the message here? Amar Rav, and the Bach switches it to Kol sheyesh be'gasas haruach. So again, we're relating to a Balgava, which is consistent with Rashi's Girsa as well. Afilu hiknol HaKadosh Baruch Hu shemayim v'aretz k'Avram Avinu. A person who's not careful with Gava, even if he's a great Mekarer v'Chaykim, he makes the masses aware of Hashem's presence and brings them closer to Hashem. Afilu hiknol HaKadosh Baruch Hu shemayim v'aretz k'Avram Avinu. Even if he behaved like Avram Avinu and empowered Hashem, so to speak, brought the awareness of Hashem's presence to everybody out there, to Shemayim V'aretz. And this is like Avram Avinu, the Chsibbe, where it says, Harimoisi Yodei L'Hashem Keil Elyon Koine Shemayim V'aretz. So we find the Lashon Yad Be'Avram, Harimoisi Yodi, who did this. So even if he follows and emulates Avram Avinu's practice, he has such great merits still, but if he's proud of himself, too proud, and is considered a Balgava, Lo Yenaka, Medina Shalginim, he will not be spared. He'll have to be cleansed from this deficiency. Question. Kashu Rabbi Shila. So the Rabbi Shila had this question. Hi Yad Lo Yenaka? You're saying that Yad Lo Yenaka is referring to a person who's like Avram Avinu, where it says Yadi. Well, Yadi, the pasuk should say, even a Yadi, a person who's like Avram Avinu, will be held accountable. Why does it say Yad Liyad, which is a different type of description, something going from one hand to the other? Hela Amri Dvira B'Shil, they had a different shot. Afilu Kibel To'era K'Moshe Rabbeinu. Even if this fellow is such a great Torah scholar, like Moshe Rabbeinu, who received the Torah into his hands from Hashem's hands, so to speak. So he accepted it from Hashem's hands, yad liyad, still. If he doesn't have the proper attitude, if he's a Baal Gava, he's too proud of himself, lo yenaka medina shel gehinam. Kashle Rabbi Yechon. Rabbi Yechon had a problem with this drasha. Ha yad liyad. Why does it say yad liyad? Even if one accepted the Torah from Hashem like Moshe Rabbeinu, that's yad miyad mibayle, my hand from his hand. Yad liyad sounds like he's giving something to somebody else. Elam Rabbi Yechanan, the pasuk is describing a very generous Baal tzedakah. Yad liyad. Afilu oisat tzedakah b'seis, even if one reaches one of the highest levels of giving tzedakah, he gives it privately, b'seis, without notoriety, without publicity. Yad liyad, from his hand to the ani. Giving tzedakah in this manner subdues the anger of Hashem, so it's a high level of tzedakah still, without fanfare, still without haughtiness, without being too proud of yourself. It's just your mission. It's a God-granted mission in life. It's a shlichus. Your ability to give tzedakah isn't because of your merits, isn't because of your ability. And therefore, lo yinaka b'din shel gehinam, Hashem will have to cleanse him of that deficiency. Wow. How important it is to keep away from gava. Interestingly enough, it's not even a mitzvah in the Torah. But as Reb Chaim Vital teaches us, Midah is teves, perfection of one's personal character precedes keeping the Torah. That's like, can't get started without that. And we see the detriments of gava. Okay, so in summation, this kinoi, this stira. What is this sheer stira? To allow a tumah, even a minimal physical interaction called ha'ara, is sufficient to make her asur. And as such, this sheer stira corresponds to that lapse of time, which was presented very differently by the various shitas here, which we reconcile between the apparent, despite the apparent contradiction between the brises, we reconcile the shitas of the various tanaim who presented it based on their personal experience. Ben Azai, according to one pshat, got it through sort of a Ruach HaKodesh, Shayda Shem Lireyav. Interestingly enough, the Raavad, and Hilchas, I believe in Hilchas Lulav, disputes the shir of the shita of the Rambam, and he writes, I know it because in Al Beis Medrash there was a revelation of Ruach Hashem and Soid Hashem Lireyav, a Raavad, Rishonim, Soid Hashem Lireyav. It's well known that many Gedolim, including the Chazon Ish, had intricate medical knowledge in very, very complicated medical procedures, all through this idea of Soid Hashem Lireyav. So their Chachmas HaTorah endowed them with supernatural, otherworldly insight, even into the most complex scientific endeavors. Okay, then we went ahead and we discussed the care one must take to actually do it until Sedayim, do it properly, and how important it is to be humble and an anav before Hashem. Haslach Rabba, all the best to you. I'm Mr. Davis.